Hi, it's Kristen and I am doing an unhaul. So I'm going to be going through my shelves and getting rid of some books. I just think it's the right time. I like to do it at least once a year towards like the beginning or end of the year. And I'm definitely running out of space on my shelves, so gonna get rid of some to make room for new books. I have a bookshelf in my bedroom, which is where like most of my read books are, and then in the spare room, those shelves are for my TBR books, and there's also a set of shelves that are books I read and I'm like slightly unsure if I want to keep, but I like want to reread them to see whether I want them or not. That's like my rough setup. I always love watching unhauls and I love watching people get rid of loads of books and like really reckon with the things they own. But I find it really difficult myself because I like look at my collection and I just think like either that's so much money that I've spent on myself just to get rid of those books, or like if it's a gift from someone, I feel bad getting rid of something that someone's given to me. But I just need to be sensible because, like, if it's a book I bought myself that I would reread, then I can keep it. If it's a book I bought myself that I wouldn't necessarily reread, but I still enjoyed it and I would maybe lend out to other people, I can keep it. If I'm never going to reread it and I'm never going to lend it out and maybe I didn't even particularly enjoy it, why am I keeping it? It can go to a charity shop and someone else can then maybe enjoy it and the charity shop can make some money, or I can try and sell it and make maybe a little bit of money back myself. If it's a book that was gifted to me that I really enjoyed, I can keep it. If it's a book that was gifted to me that was like just okay, like is there really any point holding on to it just because a friend or a relative gave it to me but I didn't enjoy it and I'm never going to reread it? Again, that can, you know, be sold on, go to a charity shop. There's no point in a book that's never going to be read sitting on your shelves collecting dust and not like, I don't know, serving its purpose as a book. So I feel like I need to try and like be a bit more sensible about what I'm keeping and what I'm getting rid of. However, I can promise you this isn't going to be perfect, and there's probably going to be books that I decide to keep that actually like, should I have kept that, but are books that maybe like I'll come back in a future unhaul and I'll reassess, and if I've not reread or lent that book out in a year's time, then it can go, I guess. I will say at the top, this is not going to be one of those videos where it's like, I unhauled 50 plus books, I unhauled 100 books, anything like that, because I am not that ruthless of a person. I need to be a bit more ruthless than I sometimes am, but yeah, that's not what this is going to be at all. So bear that in mind. We will see how I get on, and you may see books that I decide to keep now that I unhaul in the future, and that's okay too. So let's get into it. It's going to be an unhaul with me, so I'm going to like take you along my shelves and we're going to look at stuff as I go. Which is a little different from an unhaul I've done before, so we will see how this works out. And then I think at the end I will come back and we'll just like go through everything in a bit more of a focused way. So let's go. Okay, so we're going to start in here. These are all books that I've actually read before. And when I put my bookshelf in my bedroom, when I like moved into that room, I put all the books that I definitely wanted to keep straight on that bookshelf. And then here I put books that I wasn't sure about, but for like various different reasons. So we have some on here that I read as a teenager
that I really enjoyed, but that I feel like I need to reread to see if they hold up or to see if I just like still like them. And so I wanted to reread them to see, yeah, if I was still interested. And then we have some that I read as a teenager that I liked but didn't love, but think I could appreciate more as like an adult. So yeah, I'm a bit unsure about some of those. And then we have some that I just like want to reread. So I actually have like duplicate copies of these, but I've never read Winterkeep. So I need to like assess these because I don't reread a ton. So there are some that have lived on here for ages. Most of these have lived on over ages, and I've just not reread them because I don't reread a ton. And I only really reread books if I'm like trying to do a specific video or maybe like a readathon or something, and I don't have any other book that's just on my unread TBR that fits. I might go to a reread, and I like come to these shelves first to see if there's something I can like then either move to my bookshelf because I've decided I do want to keep it, or that I can like get rid of. But since putting these books on these shelves and having them live on here for so long, there are some that I know actually now at this point I'm not going to reread because I think about rereading them and I go, do I want to do that? No. So I'm just going to like straight up unhaul those, I think. So these I do want to reread because I liked that when I was younger. I think I could like it more as an adult. This one I liked, but I didn't love. And I want to try reading it, even if I like only get a few chapters in and decide actually no. This was this is just an interesting non-fiction. It's just a bunch of like little paragraphs or essays about people's first times, and it was interesting, but it took me a long time to read it. These I do want to reread. I think I can just get rid of this because I didn't love it the first time round. I enjoyed it, didn't love it. And actually, I think I was an older teen when I read this, so if I didn't love it then, I don't think I'm going to love it as a 30-year-old. So I'm going to just get rid of that, I think. And it can go to a teenager who will actually like it. My John Greens, I feel so nostalgic about my John Greens. And I feel like, I don't know, part of me feels like I don't need to keep them all because I don't even have like Turtles All the Way Down. I don't have every John Green. So it's not like I have a complete collection. So I'm like, do I just keep the ones that I enjoyed more? Because I did love The Fault in Our Stars. And I liked Looking for Alaska. And then these two, I think I gave like 3 stars each. But I remember in An Abundance of Catherine says like a lot of maths or something. Blimey, that that spine is so discoloured. So I could unhaul these. Oh, I'm just so nostalgic. I don't know. Spectacular Now. This was of that era of when like Shailene Woodley and Miles Teller were in like every YA adaptation. Because I got it because of the movie, but then I never actually watched the movie, or I don't recall ever watching the movie. And I could not tell you a single thing about this book. So I think I'm going to take that down. I might have like a flip through it. Just reading this actually. Such as the guy you want at your party, he'll get everyone dancing, he'll get everyone in the parents' pool, he has no plans for university and will probably end up folding men's shirts for a living, but right now, life's pretty fabuloso. Until he meets Amy. Amy's clueless, a social disaster, she needs help. It's up to Sutter to show her a splendiferous time and then let her go. But Amy's not like other girls. Yeah, I think that could probably go, actually. Gosh, this one I'm not sure about. This one I feel like I maybe will reread. This is when I was first getting into like bridging the gap between like young adult and adult. This is, I guess, what you consider new adult. It was like one of the first books I read that had like sex scenes in it. um, and yeah, I'm not sure about that. We'll reconsider that. This one, this I enjoyed when I read it. I think I gave it like 3 stars, and like was genuinely shocked by sort of a twist in here. But like I don't know if on a reread it would hit the same because like I know the twist. But I am very nostalgic about this because this is a gift from an ex-boyfriend for my 18th birthday. And like up till then, he'd just got me like teenage boy kind of gifts, like flowers and jewelry and stuff like that. And then he gave me this. And I love books and I love The Walking Dead. And I was like, that's actually a very thoughtful gift. Thank you so much. But then we broke up not long after. So I'm really nostalgic about this. He was like a lovely guy. But like, I don't know. Do I need to keep a gift from a boyfriend 12 years ago? I don't know that I do. Okay, there's a few up here that I'm gonna have a think about, like losing it and that one and maybe those. I'll leave them pull out at the moment. And this one, like I remember really liking Before I Die. And so I got You Against Me because it's by the same author. This is like my very dark YA section. That's what I was reading when I was younger. It's a lot about like people being kidnapped or people dying or people having very complicated relationships. Like that is about a girl with like mental health problems. That is a girl with cancer. This is I believe a girl's older brother is accused of sexually assaulting the other main character, this boy's younger sister, but then the brother and sister of the like victim and assaulter strike up a relationship, which is like that one's just about incest. I won't lie to you. It's a relationship between a brother and a sister. That was weird. But heartbreaking. So I'm again uncertain about these. But yeah, I wasn't I like to think I was an edgy teen. Gosh, these. I didn't love Carol when I read it. And I read that as an adult, I think in my very early 20s, when I was like, yeah, maybe like 19, 20. I didn't love it. So I need to think about that. This one was so short. I got it in a book box and I gave it 3 stars and I read it in a day. So I was always like, well, if I reread it, I can just reread it in a day because it didn't take me long. But I could not tell you anything about this. It's pretty, but it's like an old man and a young woman befriend each other. Like she goes to work for him and they strike up a friendship, but I literally couldn't tell you anything else. So like, do I need to keep a book that I couldn't tell you anything about and that I sort of forget I have on my shelves? I'm gonna say no. Let's be a bit ruthless. Life of Pi. I bought it at uni and I read it because we were doing a thing, I think, from like book to screen adaptations, and this was like a text that we were talking about, and so I was like, I'm gonna read it. Then I never watched the movie, and I sort of slogged my way through this one, and every time I think about rereading it, I'm like, ugh, do I want to? So I'm gonna say no. This one I'm unsure about because like at the time I really enjoyed it, but in hindsight I'm like, he knows her when she is a child, and like I can see why she would like grow up with like an infatuation with this mysterious man. But why does he fall in love with a woman he knew first as a child, and they have their first like kiss at least when she's like 18 and he's in his 30s, so I'm really not sure about keeping the time traveler's wife. This was like a twisty thriller, but I want to say that, well, this is so faded you can't even see the author's name on it anymore. I want to say there was a twist that was like involving, you think that these characters have had sex, and then the twist is that actually it was sexual assault. And so I don't know that I want to read that. The like premise sounded so interesting. It says, when an intriguing novel appears on Catherine's bedside table, she curls up and begins to read. But as she turns the pages, she is horrified to realize she is a key character. The story reveals her darkest secret, a secret she thought no one else knew. That hooked me. And then it was just like very average and like twisty and shocked me. But I don't know. It's not the kind of thriller that I feel like you can reread in a way of like you go back and you go, oh yes, I should have seen that coming, because like that clue actually meant this and that means that. And you know, I think some thrillers do have a rereadability, but I don't know that this one does. And why bother wasting my time rereading average thrillers? Go on the Train. I had fun with it, so I'm going to keep it. Stolen, I think, is one I need to reread as an adult and see how I feel. Again, this is about a girl who like gets kidnapped and taken to like the Australian outback or something. These I think I will get rid of eventually. However, I never read Allegiant. I read Divergent, loved it as a teen. Bought Insurgent, reread Divergent, enjoyed it again, read Insurgent, pushed myself through Insurgent, I won't lie. Then Allegiant came out. I could not find a copy that matched for ages. And then I got spoiled for the ending, which, if you know, is like big spoilers, major stuff happens, and it made me not want to read Allegiant. And then eventually I found a copy that matched, and I bought it to complete my collection, and I've just never read it in all that time. So I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna read the trilogy. I'm gonna reread Divergent, reread Insurgent, and then finally read Allegiant, and then probably get rid of them, because I don't know that I need to hold on to them, because I did love Divergent at the time, but it's not a lasting love that I have with like some other books that I read when I was a teenager, you know? So I would like to complete the trilogy. I think I'll do a reading vlog for it, and then I can probably get rid of these books. So these are like on standby. These I'm keeping. They're beautiful. I love these books. The Fifth Wave. I loved The Fifth Wave. Gave it 5 stars when I originally read it. Infinite Sea, I didn't love, but I thought it was okay. And then when The Last Star came out, I'd sort of forgotten stuff, so I reread these, and I didn't enjoy this one as much because I was a bit older. I liked this one more than when I originally read it. And then I did not like the last book. The way it ends made me so angry. But I don't know. I am quite fond of these, so I think I'm going to keep these for now. Maybe reread them. Beastly and A Kiss in Time. These bug me because of that height difference. And this is a very stiff mass market, and this is a lovely floppy big one. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. This is a Sleeping Beauty retelling. And Beastly I really liked at the time, and I've reread it a few times as a teen. But I want to say that at the end, the tutor, who is blind, gets his sight back as like a, you helped the beastly teenager, so as a reward you get to see again. And I don't like that. I am gonna have to like check that to see if that's true, or if I'm just weirdly making that up. But if that is true, I think I can get rid of this, and then I don't know that I need to keep this. So again, those I'm going to pull out as a maybe get rid of. So that's 5 books I'm definitely getting rid of now, and then a bunch that I'm actually like really need to reassess. So I think I'm gonna start a series where I like reread to reconsider. And I've been thinking of doing that for ages, and I've just never got round to doing it. So I feel like this has spurred me on. So some I'm gonna do like a reading series for, and then reassess. Some I think I just need to like try out again. And maybe I'll read the whole book and decide to keep it. Maybe I'll read the whole book and decide actually it can go, but I had a nice time rereading it. Maybe I'll get a couple of chapters in and go, actually, this can just go now. So that's where I'm at with these shelves. It still looks full, but I have made a few spaces. I'm gonna like rearrange this a little. So yeah, that's shelf 1 done. Yeah, I've just had a little flick through of this, and yeah, the tutor, who is called Will and has a dog called Pilot and is blind, so obviously as an adult I'm like, oh, that's supposed to be like Mr. Rochester, does get his sight back at the end, and it's like done very flippantly, and they're just like, oh wow, can you see, bud? And he's like, yeah, I can, but maybe this is a dream. Oh my gosh, is that you, Adrian? So that I don't like that his reward for like breaking the curse and them all like loving each other and finding companionship is that he gets to see again. Don't love that disability representation, so gonna get rid of that. And then also just flicking through it, didn't feel very well written, if I'm being honest. So I can also probably get rid of the Sleeping Beauty retelling, because I can remember bits of this, but like, I enjoyed it as a teen. Will I enjoy it as an adult? Probably not. So I'm gonna get rid of those as well. Now we're in my bedroom where my main bookshelf lives. Here it is. I've taken all my like trinkets and stuff off it. So like my mugs that have my bookmarks in, all my little knickknacks are gone. As you can see, there's not much space on here. These are actually books that need to go on my shelves that I've read, but I just literally don't have room for them. And then at the bottom here, this is TBR books that need to go in the other room with my other TBR books, but I don't have space on those shelves either. And then all my running snacks live down here. And I'd like them not to, but it's just a convenient place for me to like pack them into my running vest when I go running, but I'd rather they didn't live on my bookshelf, on the bottom shelf, collecting dust. So it's all sort of by genre. So, I mean, this is just my Series of Unfortunate Events collection. These are graphic novels plus like a couple of old YouTuber books from when I was younger, plus just like any more like illustrative books, couple of recipe book, like cocktail recipe book, picture book kind of thing. Here we have sci-fi and sort of dystopian. Behind that we have my Greek mythology, or just mythology books, mostly Greek mythology, but we do have some Norse mythology. Then we go along to fantasy. Then we have classics into modern classics. Then historical. Then historical romance in front of that. Then we have romance behind here and up here. And these are like romantic contemporary into literary fiction. Behind that we have thrillers and like crime. This is like paranormal, supernatural, horror stuff. These are witchy romances. Then down here we have just straight up contemporary, young adult, couple of middle grade on the end there. These are like slightly older young adult. They're still young adult, but they have characters who may be like 18 and are just like a bit more grown up in theme. And then on the bottom behind the snacks we have non-fiction, then non-fiction essays, and then behind these stacks, which are TBR books, are poetry and plays. So that's what we're working with. I do think once I've unhauled and made space for some books and taken off those TBR books because I don't want them there, and found somewhere else for my reading snacks to go, I would like to rejig a bit. I'm thinking like maybe move my mythology to here and put the fantasies, so like the whole back wall of that is fantasy, and we have a stack of mythology, although I have a lot of mythology books, so that stack might come quite high. I'm not sure. We'll see sort of what we end up with. But yeah, now I've taken all my trinkets and stuff off and my knickknacks. I like how open and like it needs a dust, but like more clean my bookshelves look, rather than being scattered with like a mug and a photo and a little cross stitch and, you know, just a lot of stuff. But this is the only bookshelf I have in my bedroom because my bedroom is very small, which is why like all my TBR books are in the other room, the spare room, apart from those down there. So basically this is just me saying I really need to get through my TBR so those books can move, and I need to get rid of a decent amount of books so that I can fit these 3 that currently don't have a home on here, and then also have space for the books I'm reading, because I don't want my shelves to like just fit everything on and then I read more books and then I'm back in the same position of where the hell do I put these. So this is what we're working with. Let's see what we can do with it. Okay, let's get into it. Obviously there's going to be like cuts or maybe some jerky camera movements because I'm going to be moving books around because we've got like double stacks and, you know, a various mishmash of book placements. So we're going to go shelf by shelf and then by stacks or genres within those shelves. So we're going to start here with sci-fi dystopian. Now, my main thing that bugs me about this is this being a huge hardback. I'm not a big hardback person. I much prefer paperbacks, as you can probably tell. But this bugs me even more because my copy of The Martian is like a mass market paperback, and then my copy of Project Hail Mary is a huge hardback. So that really annoys me. I think I'm gonna keep an eye out for Project Hail Mary in paperback in like charity shops or something, and if I see one then I'll get that. This was from a charity shop, but I don't mind like buying it again if it's cheap and I can like gift this on to someone else. And again, The Martian, I might look for a paperback in like a regular size, which will make this stack a bit smaller. But I'm keeping both my anyways because I liked those. To Be Taught with Fortunate, I love. Place in the Darkness, I think I can get rid of this because I struggled through it. I liked the second half more than I liked the first half. But about a year ago, I read this in a reading vlog, and if you've seen that vlog of me reading space books, I had to push myself through this one. It wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be. And yeah, I think I have a friend who might like this more than I did, so I might gift it to him. But this one can go. Leave the World Behind, I didn't particularly enjoy, but it's one I think about quite a lot. And I did get my mum to read it, and it is one I would recommend to people, so I might hold on to it for a bit. This I only fairly recently read and I liked, and I would lend to people. I really like Station 11, so keeping that. And All My Friends Are Superheroes is really cute. It's just about all these people who have superpowers, but the superpowers aren't necessarily like super strength, super speed, whatever. There's characters who are like the perfectionist, or a guy who can, I think, like tell if you need a hug and he'll just like come to your house and comfort you. But I like that one, and I have like lent it out to people, so I'm going to keep that. So from this stack, definitely getting rid of this one, and I'll have a think about that one. So yeah, that one's going. Okay, we have moved the sci-fi stack. These are my mythology and folklore, folk story, legend retellings. So this is based on the Bible. Then we've got Norse mythology, Greek mythology, and then like British folk song retelling. And then I don't actually think I'm going to get rid of anything from these shelves, because I love my mythologies and all these fantasies I like as well. So for now, this is all staying. I think I might just rearrange after all this to put my mythologies here and move my fantasies so it's fantasy backspace with a stack of mythology. Yeah, but that's all gonna stay, I think. Then we have my classics. Obviously, I've got like multiple versions of classics. These are the really pretty Jane Austens that my granddad bought me. They're like gold edged in this lovely box. And then I have my paperbacks, which are what I will actually like physically read, because these are quite delicate. And then we've got, again, fancy Brontes, but these are the ones that I will actually physically read. Frankenstein I didn't love, but I feel like I'm going to keep it. Little Women I do love. Treasure Island, I hate to get rid of a classic, but I really didn't like Treasure Island, so I might take that off here. I don't know, it's also like partially set in Bristol, and that's like my hometown, so I feel like I should keep it for that. But I really didn't enjoy it, so I'm gonna pull that off for now. Then we've got Lord of the Flies, which I surprisingly liked, The Outsiders, which I read just at the end of last year and really enjoyed, and Holes, which I again surprisingly liked. These are my like weird books about like angry boys that I wouldn't think I like, but I actually do. So we're going to keep those. I'm going to keep these, keep my Tessa Dares. This series, I really don't know, because I liked book 2, it was my favourite. Book 3, I also quite liked. Book 1 was my least favourite. I feel like I can't get rid of book 1 in a trilogy and keep the other 2. I feel like it's all or nothing. So I'm going to keep them for now, and maybe in the future if I need to clear space, they'll go. But I'm going to move them for now so we can get to this stack. This is my historical fiction going into sort of literary fiction. So we start with like the furthest away timeline, and it goes down to like the 80s, 90s. I think I have these roughly in like a chronological order. This one I didn't love, but I would be interested in maybe giving it another go at some point. Kindred was great. Adventures of Tina Iron, I liked. Outlawed, I really enjoyed. Mad Woman's Ball, I think I can get rid of it. I didn't love it. And I got it from a charity shop, so I don't feel terrible about getting rid of it. But this is about a young woman who gets put in like an asylum in Paris, and it's like women who are deemed hysterical and stuff. And I thought it was going to be really interesting, but I didn't love it. It was just okay for me. Cover is gorgeous though. I really wish I'd liked this more than I did. Thing is, a Bright Girl Can Do, I kind of feel like I could get rid of this. It's about young women who like learn about the suffragette and suffragist movements in the UK and like get involved. And I was really excited about it, and I bought myself a copy, and then I actually got it in a book box and gave the other copy to my sister. I think it's like technically an adult book, but it reads quite young adult. And I don't know, it's just because I've owned it like twice technically. I've already unhauled one copy, but like, do I need this? I can probably get rid of it if I'm being honest. I can get rid of it. Then I keep my Ruta Sepetys, keep Warhorse because that broke my heart. Shuggy Bane was an intense read. I'm going to keep that. And then I really liked Aristotle and Dante when I read it, so I'm going to keep those. So that's a couple of books gone off this section. So I have a little bit of room that I can read more historical fiction here. So that's that shelf. Okay, now let's do this row. I'm keeping my Emily Henrys. I love Emily Henry. I'm going to keep You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. Keep my Sally Rooney's because I love Sally Rooney. These two in particular. This one was a bit meh, but I'm keeping my Sally Rooney's. Really liked this one. These were okay, but I think I would like lend them out to people. Fantastic book. Really enjoyed these as well. This one I think can probably go. This was a birthday present from a friend, so I feel bad about getting rid of it, but it wasn't really my thing. Like, I had a decent time with it. It's one I thought I was going to speed through, but actually took me a while to read. It's just about like a mum's diary throughout the year of her dealing with being a mum, like having to schedule stuff around her kids and her friends and her husband and just their everyday life, and the hijinks and stuff of having little kids. And it was amusing, but not like the kind of thing I read, really. I do like a contemporary book, but I'm more of a Emily Henry, Sally Rooney kind of girl. But I think potentially my parents might like this, because I think a lot of the humour in it is like the relatability of having kids or having a partner who does like silly or annoying stuff, and that's just not me. But like, my mum could like it, my dad could like it, so I'm gonna unhaul it from my shelves but give it to them. And then I don't feel as bad getting rid of it, because like, my friend gave it to me, but 3 people in this household will read it, and then we can give it to like a charity shop and even more people can read it. So yeah, gonna get rid of that one, I think. Then I'm gonna keep all my witchy romances, so I'm gonna move this front row and then I can show you what's behind. Okay, so up here we have some more contemporary / romance. Secret Diary of Lizzie Bennet, based off the YouTube show, and some cowboy romance, and a cute little contemporary book about like loving books. They're all gonna stay, I think. Then these guys, these are my like proper contemporary romance. I'm going to tell you what, I think I'm going to get rid of the Unhoneymooners. Of the 2 Christina Lauren that I own, Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating and the Unhoneymooners, on paper, I would have told you that I would love the Unhoneymooners and not love, but maybe still enjoy Josh and Hazel, because this is friends to lovers with a little, spoilers, surprise pregnancy trope, which I don't love friends to lovers, and I don't like pregnancy stuff in books particularly. And this one is like rivals to lovers, fake marriage. And I like enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers more, and like fake dating and fake marriage, that kind of thing, I'm a sucker for. And yet, I quite liked this, apart from the pregnancy stuff I didn't like. And this, I just found it so stressful. It's like the main character's sister and the love interest's brother get married, and then they all get sick at the wedding from like the food, and so can't go on the honeymoon. But the main character and the love interest didn't eat that food, so they're like, don't waste the honeymoon, like it's all already like prepaid for, we don't want to like lose out on any of those discounts, like it's already booked, so like you guys just go and have a nice holiday. But obviously everything's in like the family newlywed bookings, so they have to pretend to be married while on this holiday. But like the turns it takes, and like the reason why they have fate being married for like longer, and like to who, just stressed me out. And then there's like circumstances that happen between the main characters and their siblings that really piss me off. So I think I'm going to get rid of this one and maybe give it to a friend who also likes romance. But I'm going to keep Josh and Hazel. I'm also going to keep the remake for now because I have the second book, and then I'm going to read that and then maybe reevaluate that one. These books weren't great, but I enjoyed this one. This one I didn't like so much, but I don't know that I'd like be that fussed about keeping this one if I didn't have this one. So it's one of those like either they both go or they both stay. Oh, I might have to reevaluate. This, I won't lie to you, I didn't think I owned this anymore. I thought I'd already unhauled it. So I feel like that can go, and I didn't actually buy this at all. This was given from my sister's friend to my sister, and then my sister read it, and then my sister gave it to me, and I read it, and I didn't love it. And I actually thought I'd already unhauled it, so that can go. Okay, then we have my thriller and crime. Keeping my Holly Jackson, love Holly Jackson. I actually have a Holly Jackson in that lot of books that I said didn't fit on this shelf. So I'm going to then move that and it can join here, the reappearance of Rachel Price. The Appeal I really liked. It was about like a Amdram group in this little village who did this appeal because one of the members of the group, granddaughter, I believe it was, had like a rare illness, and it's all told through emails, mostly with like a couple of legal documents. You see some like flyers in there. It's all mixed media, and I whizzed through it considering it's like not huge but a little chunkier. And then Twyford Code is told in like audio files, but the Twyford Code I did not like. I thought I'd whiz through it because I read this in like 2 days. I thought I'd get through this really quickly. It took me ages and I really had to push myself to finish it. So I'm going to get rid of the Twyford Code. I don't need to keep that. Murder in the Family, I'm also going to get rid of. This again was mixed media. It's like a true crime show being made about a family, and it's like a cold case. They're making a documentary about it, and it was okay, but didn't wow me. It was like fairly fun to read in a day. but I don't feel the need to hang on to it, and I could probably find someone else I could like give it to who would enjoy it more. Gone Girl's a classic at this point. It's like a classic thriller, so I'm going to keep that. Upstairs Room I didn't love, but I would reread to see if like I liked it better on a reread. So these two can go. I'm going to pull them out when I put the camera down. Then these are all my like paranormal books. These are like old school. These are what I read as like a teen. Then You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight was fun, and I would lend that out to people, so I'm going to keep that. Once Future Witches I loved. These are books I read as a teen and really enjoyed and have reread, and I think they hold up decently. And then these are much more recent reads, either of this year or the past year, and I liked them both, so I'm going to keep those. So yeah, it's just these guys and these guys going from this shelf, but that's fine because I have more that I can add to this shelf with these gone that I'll be able to fit. So that's this shelf. Then this shelf is very much nostalgic for me. These are books I mostly read as a teen, like my Princess Diaries, love them, like other Meg Cabot. Yeah, I feel very nostalgic about the shelf. My Morgan Matsons. Having said that, I do think I can get rid of Save the Date by Morgan Matson. These are the Morgan Matsons I read as a teen. Amy and Roger was the first Morgan Matson I read, then Since You've Been Gone and The Unexpected Everything. Second Chance Summer I read in the past couple of years, but it was very emotional and the romance in it was quite cute and I did like it for what it was, considering it is young adult. Save the Date I read last year, thinking, well, if I still enjoyed a YA, I could enjoy this, and it's been on my shelves for ages. But this one just kind of frustrated me. It's about a family and like the oldest sibling, or like one of the older siblings, is getting married, and so like the whole family gets back together, and the youngest sibling is our main character, and she is like, it's going to be the best wedding ever, we're going to have such fun as a family, it's going to be great. But then obviously like things go wrong one after another, and she's trying to like make sure everything goes as well as it possibly can, but obviously it doesn't. But this book stressed me out. I didn't love the romantic subplot, and yeah, it's not one of the Morgan Matsons I'm nostalgic about. And I used to be like, I have to own every Morgan Matson, but I don't anymore. So I don't feel bad about getting rid of one that I didn't love, because it's not like I have the whole set. So I can just keep the ones I did like. I think this one I will always keep because it was my first Morgan Matson and probably my favourite. And then in the future, I wouldn't be opposed to like rereading these to see if I still liked them. Then this is gonna sound like really contradictory because I don't really read a ton of YA anymore. And so you would think I could probably get rid of most of these. However, I do kind of want to keep them all. There are some that I've read like a couple of times, and every time I've read them, I've liked them. So yeah, I don't know. There's also ones like these that I feel so nostalgic about these. And that was when I was like a slightly older teen, or I wanted to like be reading more mature stuff. So these are about like girls who got in trouble with the police, but then actually like ended up getting together with like young police officers. Like they were like 19 or 20 and the main characters were like 18. So not inappropriate age gaps. But at the time I was like, ooh, girls getting in trouble, but like the police officer ends up falling for them. As an adult, the appeal of a police officer is not the same don't know that I find a police officer as a romantic interesting anymore, but I'm so nostalgic about these that I feel like I can't get rid of them. Or perhaps they're worth a reread and I can see how like dodgy or problematic I potentially find them. I think, yeah, I'm gonna keep these. Some of these I have actually read as an adult for the first time. Like, I didn't even read them as a teen and reread them as an adult. I just read them as an adult, and I still really liked them. Like The Black Flamingo was really great. Felix Ever After I liked. Miseducation of Cameron Post. I think as an adult, as you can tell by like those options that I've just like given you, I read more diverse YA, and I think YA has become more diverse, which is good. But those, yeah, I've just taken one Morgan Matson off the shelf. When really, like, you would think this would be the shelf that I could really sort of cull. Perhaps, yeah, I need to like reread some YA and see if I still want it or not. This shelf done, on to the bottom shelf, which is going to take a bit of clearing because I need to move TBR books and my running snacks. Okay, the lighting is not good down here. We are on my floor. So these are my non-fiction. We've got a little bit of memoir with As You Wish. We've got non-fiction about gardening. We've got a couple of books about like the world wars. One is about nurses in the war, which of all of these I could probably get rid of. However, it took me like 2 years of dipping in and out of it to get through it. We've got Love Letters to the Great War. No Baggage was like a travel book. Then we've got books about feminism. We've got Toxvig's Almanac, which is like women. For every day of the year, there was an entry about like an interesting woman in history. Then We Can Do Better Than This is essays about LGBTQ rights. And then we've got essays by Roxane Gay on feminism done there. I don't actually think there's anything I really want to get rid of here. Then we've got my little essay book, some Mary Beard, some Audre Lorde, and then we've got my plays and poetry. And I don't know. I don't think I want to get rid of anything there either. So actually I'm not getting rid of anything from this shelf. Oh, all of that for nothing. I'm going to keep everything on that shelf, I think. Yes. So actually we've not unhauled much at all. That doesn't feel great. But yeah, let me get back up off the floor and we'll reassess. Okay, I don't love how tall this stack is, but I've moved my mythology folklore retellings there. So moved that fantasy stack to here. Now I have room for more fantasy books, which is good. I'm going to put my sci-fi back here. Again, don't love that because it's going to block my lovely fantasies, but you know. Then we have my classics. They're all staying where they are. Historical fiction. I will put my historical romances back here. I have room for historicals. This I have a little bit of room for. Let me just add in the ones that are missing. So I've added in my other Holly Jackson that I've read that didn't have space, and Pretty Young Women. This is great. This didn't fit, but I'm tempted to put it in historical. However, I'm also kind of tempted to unhaul it because I liked it, but I didn't love it, and it was quite draining to read. Not in a bad way, but it was like one horrible thing after another happening. So I don't know, but it's not properly had a chance to live on my shelves yet, you know, which sounds like a stupid excuse, but it's an excuse I'm giving. So I'm going to keep it for now. But you may very well in a future unhaul see me get rid of this. But it's going to go here, I think, is where it should go. So let's do that. There we go, it's there for now. And then I'm going to put all my other contemporary books back in front. I'm going to leave space here for when I add more of my contemporary romance to my shelves. I feel like I've really not unhauled that much or created much space for myself. But let me put all my other books back on, and then I'll show you what my shelves look like now, which is really going to be no different because I've still got stacks in front of stacks and double stacking and some sideways, some front on. I just need more bookshelves in a bigger room, but that is not logistically possible. And that is my shelf again. Not so different. I do have more space for fantasy books, though. Got a bit of space for historical fiction. I could fit another classic in there. I can fit some more romance back there. I got a little bit of space here. Got a little space for if I read any YA. TBR books have had to go back on that bottom shelf for the time being until I have space on my TBR shelves. But that is that. I will go through all the books I've unhauled in another little clip in a sec. But that's that.
Okay, the unhaul has been done. We've got stacks. Let's properly go through what I'm getting rid of. So, getting rid of Beastly by Alex Flynn. This I bought when I was a teenager, and I was like very much into wanting to read like Beauty and the Beast retellings, and I've read this a few times as a teenager, so like I got got my use out of it. But like flicking through it, it doesn't seem like it's actually brilliantly written, and so I probably wouldn't read it now. And also I have that issue with like the blind character helped the main character so much that he like earned his eyesight back, which I really don't like the connotations there. So getting rid of that. And then in the same vein, I'm going to get rid of A Kiss in Time, which is a Sleeping Beauty retelling by the same author as Beastly. Again, like, it's just probably not as well written as I thought it was at the time. So if I'm getting rid of one, I'll get rid of the other. And also, like, this has always bothered me. This is smaller than a regular paperback, and this is bigger than a regular paperback. So yes, get rid of those. I've read them a few times each. They had their time. They can go be with like another teenager. Then I'm getting rid of Disclaimer by Renee Knight. This is a thriller, and sometimes I reread thrillers. I've said before, I think some thrillers do have a rereadability in that, like, you can read them back and go, oh yes, like I can now pick up on all those like subtle clues or foreshadowing of like how the mystery turns out. But with what I remember of this one, I don't know that you would get that reread satisfaction from it. Also, this premise sounded so interesting, and then I read it and it was just like a very average 3-star thriller to me, and dealt with some quite like intense subject matters that I didn't necessarily think were gonna be in here. So I don't know that I want to read about those things again. So yeah, just a very average thriller that can go. Then I've got Life of Pi by Jan Martel. This, although it's like really held up as like an iconic book, I didn't love it. I didn't have a great time reading it. I really like pushed myself to read it. Every time I think about rereading it, I'm like, actually, do I want to? And in that case, like, I can get rid of it. It's about a sinking of a ship, and there's like one lifeboat remaining, and this guy gets on the lifeboat with a tiger. I didn't love it, so I can get rid of that. And that one is like one of the ones I don't mind getting rid of so much because I bought it from a charity shop, so like I don't feel as bad. I don't think, oh, I paid full price for that and didn't love it and I'm getting rid of it, because it's like, no, I only bought it for a little amount of money. And then we have Stay, Stay, Stay by Lila Savage. This I really can't remember much about. I got it in a book box. I whizzed through reading it at the time, but it did not stick with me at all. It's just about like a young woman who strikes up a friendship with an old man, and it's just about their lives. But like, I literally couldn't tell you anything other than that, so it really didn't stay with me. Then we have The Spectacular Now by Tim Tharp. This is just about like a young guy and a young girl and their like unconventional friendship. And again, I couldn't tell you anything else about this. This was very much when I was in my like John Green era. I bought it because, yeah, the movie had Shailene Woodley and Miles Teller, who were in like a lot of teen stuff at the time. And I thought, oh, I'll read the book and then I'll watch the film. But then I read the book, found it very average, and then never watched the film. And like I said, literally, I could not tell you like anything that happens in here. So yeah, and I feel like now with rereading YA, like if I didn't love it then, am I gonna love it as an adult? Probably not. And in the same vein of that, When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. This was fun. This is about a girl called Dimple and a boy called Rishi, and they meet on this like tech camp thing, and their first meeting like doesn't go brilliantly, but then they end up working on like a team together and having a bit of a crush on each other, and you know, but again, like other than that, I really can't remember much, and I think I had fun with it and like enjoyed it well enough at the time, but I don't know that as an adult I would reread it and get much out of it. And so I think this can like go on to some other teen who will get more from it than me as an adult woman. So those are the ones I've read before that I was like, do I reread it? Do I just get rid of it? Will I like want to keep it if I reread it? And I went, actually no, I think I'm just gonna get rid of those books. Now we have a stack that have been living on my main shelves that actually I can probably get rid of to make some space. We've got Places in the Darkness by Chris Brookmyre. This is like a space station setting, and someone is killed on the space station, and no one has ever been like murdered here before. And so they send a detective from Earth up to the space station to like investigate what's going on. And that premise sounded so interesting to me. But then I really had to push myself through reading like the first half of this. Second half, much more like fast-paced, action-packed. There was more stuff going on. I felt like when the characters on the space station, our main character and then the investigator character came together, that's when things like really picked up. But it took a while for that dynamic to unfold. It was okay. I don't feel the need to keep this. I don't think I'll ever reread it. I think I can like pass it on to a friend who likes sci-fi stuff and he could enjoy it more. So I'm going to get rid of that. Then Getting Rid of Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. This, part of me is like, maybe I just read this at a bad time, because when I read it was a point where I was like quite busy and also quite unwell. So I don't know that like I had the best reading experience with this. But again, I got this from a charity shop. I'm pretty sure I got this for free because I bought another book at the time, and the charity shop was like, oh, it's if you buy any paperback, you get another one free. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll take like these two when I was just planning on buying one. Or I was buying this and I got the other one free. I can't remember exactly. But either way, it was like £1 for 2 books. And yeah, I didn't love this one. It was a bit of a push to get through. It's not a classic I've enjoyed compared to other classics. This is about pirates and a young man called Jim Hawkins, and they're like in search of this treasure shown by a map. And there's Long John Silver, and it's iconic. I think I also read this because I love the show Black Sails, which is like technically kind of a prequel to Treasure Island, because you get the character of Long John Silver like becoming Long John Silver. And so I was always like, I love Black Sails, I need to like read the original like that it's based on. And then yeah, didn't love it, so don't need to keep that. Then we have The Mad Women's Ball by Victoria Mass. This is set in the 1800s, late 1800s, in an asylum for like hysterical women, and I thought it was okay, didn't love it, don't think I'd necessarily recommend it to any people I know. So again, I got this one from a charity shop, so I don't feel terrible about getting rid of it. It can go. I've had my time with it. I can pass that on. Then we have Things a Bright Girl Can Do, which I got in a book box. Actually, no. This one I bought myself. I bought myself this book, then subscribed to this book box, and then the first book in that subscription was this one. So I gave that copy to my sister. It was and wasn't what we thought it was going to be. It's about 3 young women, Evelyn, May, and Nell, who all become involved in like the suffragist movements as young women. And I thought that sounded so interesting, and I thought I was really going to love it, but I just thought it was very okay. And like, other than the basic premise of it, I can't really remember a ton that happened in here. I do have a Feminist Friday video in which I read it, and I do remember like enjoying it to some degree, but I think I gave it like 3 stars, and it's been a 3-star that has been forgettable over time. But I think potentially like a younger woman or like teen girl could get more out of this than I can. Then we have The Twyford Code by Janice Hallett. As I said before, when I was pulling it off my shelf, I loved The Appeal by Janice Hallett, so I was like, I'm going to pick up all her stuff because I love a mixed media mystery as well. This one, based on like a famous children's author who goes missing, but people believe there's like a code in her works that leads to a treasure, and so it's sort of based around that. Like years later, but I really didn't like this one. I found it like I don't know, I just found it difficult to like pay attention to it. I thought it was going to be one that I'd whiz through, and then I really didn't, and I didn't particularly like the mystery. I didn't particularly like the sort of main character who we're hearing from in these like audio files. Yeah, this one was a miss for me. So there's been a Janice Hallett I've really enjoyed and a Janice Hallett I've really not enjoyed. So I will continue to pick up her work because I do like mixed media, and if anything is in the same vein as The Appeal, then I should like it. But if it's like The Twilight Code, then I don't think I will. Murder in the Family by Cara Hunter, another mixed media thriller, a sort of cold case, having a documentary being made about it. It's again in like script format, and yeah, I had fun with it. I read it really quickly, but it's not one that I think I will ever reread, and I didn't buy this one, so I don't actually feel bad about getting rid of it, because it wasn't even technically a gift. It was just given to my sister by a friend who was unhauling books, and then my sister gave it to me when she was unhauling books. So now I will unhaul it and pass it on to some charity shop. Then we have Are We Having Fun Yet by Lucy Mangan. This was like humorous, fairly enjoyable, was given to me by a friend, but I'm gonna unhaul this within my own house and give it to my parents, because I think, like I said before, a lot of the humour in it is about like being married and having kids, and that's not really like at where I am in my life something that I like gravitate towards in stories, but potentially like my parents can enjoy it, and then within the house 3 people will have read it, and then we can they can either keep it or they can unhaul it, and it can go further on into being read. Then we have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This again my sister gave to me after reading it, after being given it by a friend. This is like a cheesy romance where I had fun with it, but at the same time I had a lot of issues with it. We've got a PhD student who like wants to prove to her best friend that she's like over this guy, and so she's just like, oh, I'm dating someone new, and sort of just makes up that she's got this new boyfriend, and then like the first guy that she sees is this professor in her department, and she just like goes up to him and kisses him and is like, yep, we're together, so like everything's okay. And then he actually agrees to like fake date her, and first of all, like I know she's not his student, so like there's not really that issue with her being his student, him being her professor. But I'm like, you do work in the same department, and I don't know why more people don't have like a slight issue with this at least. But I definitely couldn't get past them like attending events together because they were in the same department professionally, and like going to a lecture at the same time. And then they like run out of seats, and so she just like sits on his lap, and I was like, in what world would you do that if you're trying to appear to like everyone else to be professional? So like their relationship dynamic I really didn't like. I didn't enjoy the sex scenes. There were too many bits in this that I just found like a little too cringy. But like, did I have fun with it? Yes. Would I read Ali Hazelwood again? Maybe. I don't think I'd buy any Ali Hazelwood, but like I'm not opposed to if someone gave me an Ali Hazelwood book, or if I was like just in the mood for something very cheesy and fun, getting it from the library. So like I'm not swearing off Ali Hazelwood, because like I did have fun with this, but I didn't think it was good, you know? So I don't need to keep it, and actually I thought I'd already got rid of it. So that one's going. The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. As I said in the Unhaul thing, I thought I would really enjoy this, and then I really didn't. I didn't like the dynamic between the siblings and the main characters' love interests. There was like an element in the plot that really pissed me off. This wasn't the like fun rom-com that I thought it was going to be, with like fake dating and all the tropes I enjoy, but just done in a way that really didn't work for me. So I don't need to keep this. And lastly, Save the Date by Morgan Matson. As I said, I love Morgan Matson. I loved Morgan Matson when I was younger. She was like one of my favourite young adult authors, but this one I didn't read until very recently. If I'd read it when I was younger, maybe I would have liked it more, but of all of Morgan Matson's books, this is definitely my least favourite. So I don't feel the need to hang on to this one because I don't think I'd reread it. I don't have anyone that I'd lend it out to. I think this is a case of a type of YA book that I'm now maybe just like too old for. And that's not to say all YA, because some YA I read and it still like hits really well even as an adult, but then there's certain YAs where I'm like, no, the character does just feel like too immature, or the dynamic doesn't work for me now, and that's okay. This can go on to a teen and be read by someone who like it is actually marketed towards. So that is it. Those are all the books. I think there's like 17. Let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 books, which isn't the best in terms of like getting a lot of books off my shelves, but isn't the worst. This was never gonna be a huge unhaul, but like 17 books isn't too bad. I have made a little bit of space on my shelves, and I'll just do this again in like however many months time and see if there's a few more things that I can actually get rid of, if I'm being more like completely honest with myself. So that is it for this unhaul. Are there any books here that you actually loved and I'm surprised that I'm unhauling? Or do you agree with my choices? I will see you soon with another video. Bye!